Where he got off.
Gentlemen, this...
What are you, a pro?
Look, I don't really feel like talking anymore.
Now, you tell IA I'm just your average health...
Like his drugs, he liked his girls, he liked...
Someone who wants to harm the writer.
Why did you think I wouldn't want one?
You cannot fool the machine.
Trust me, it can be... Who has access to my goddamn file?
Nobody!
How much did she pay you?
Closer way of demonstrating that.
Opening with the murder of Johnny Boz, a rock star found dead in his bed, the film quickly sets the stage for an intense investigation. He has been stabbed multiple times while in a sexual encounter, making it clear that this is no ordinary crime. The police are quick to suspect that the killer could be someone close to the victim, and as Detective Nick Curran is assigned to the case, he begins to uncover more than he bargained for. Curran, a troubled detective with a dark past, has his own set of issues, including a history of violence and addiction. This makes him an unreliable figure in the case, and his struggle with his inner demons adds another layer of complexity to the investigation. The primary suspect is Catherine, a glamorous, successful writer whose novels are often filled with violent and sexual themes. She is confident, intelligent, and skilled at playing with people's perceptions, which makes it difficult to trust her innocence. She claims to have no involvement in Boz's death, but the evidence suggests otherwise. As Curran digs deeper, he learns that Catherine has a complicated and somewhat dangerous past, including violent relationships with those close to her. Her connection to the crime grows stronger, but she maintains a sense of mystery and keeps playing mind games with Curran, leaving him questioning his own judgment. The tension between the two grows as they engage in a cat-and-mouse game throughout the investigation. Catherine challenges Curran at every turn, leading him into dangerous psychological territory. She becomes more than just a suspect to him. She is an obsession. There are moments when Curran is drawn to her sexually and emotionally, making it difficult for him to keep his professional and personal lives separate. His obsession with her intensifies as the investigation progresses, and the relationship between them becomes increasingly complex. At the same time, Catherine manipulates him, knowing his weaknesses and using them to her advantage. Curran's psychological issues, his struggles with addiction, and his violent tendencies make him vulnerable to her charm. He begins to lose sight of the truth as Catherine keeps him off balance with her provocations and games. One particularly memorable scene involves Catherine sitting during an interrogation, crossing her legs provocatively, which creates an intense atmosphere of sexual tension and further blurs the line between their professional relationship and personal attraction. As the investigation deepens, Curran also uncovers a connection between Catherine and her ex-girlfriend Roxy. Roxy becomes a key player in the investigation, adding more layers to the mystery. She has her own history with Catherine, and this introduces another potential motive for the murder. The relationships between Catherine, Curran, and Roxy create a web of emotional and psychological manipulation, with each character playing their part in a dangerous game of power and control. Throughout the film, the themes of power and control dominate the narrative. Catherine uses her intelligence and beauty to manipulate those around her, while Curran struggles to regain control of his own life. His inability to separate his personal feelings from his investigation leads to a dangerous obsession, and it becomes clear that Catherine has an uncanny ability to control the people in her life, especially Curran. The fine line between love, obsession, and manipulation is explored in depth, making it difficult for anyone involved in the case to know who is telling the truth. As the investigation progresses, the characters are caught in a psychological battle where the truth seems elusive and the stakes keep rising. Curran is drawn deeper into Catherine's world, unable to escape the web she has spun around him. Their interactions are charged with tension, and it becomes clear that the line between right and wrong is becoming increasingly difficult to define. Catherine's motives remain unclear, and as the investigation continues, both Curran and the audience are left unsure of who to trust. The relationship between Curran and Catherine is complex, marked by sexual tension, emotional manipulation, and a dangerous game of power. As Curran becomes more involved with Catherine, his obsession with her deepens. He becomes fixated on her, losing sight of his duty as a detective. This psychological entanglement is central to the story, and as the plot unfolds, it becomes evident that both characters are locked in a battle of wills. The investigation into the murder of Johnny Boz is not just about finding the truth, it is also about the psychological struggle between Curran and Catherine, both of whom are playing games with each other's minds. The investigation intensifies as more evidence is uncovered, but Catherine's manipulation of Curran makes it hard for him to see the truth. As Curran digs deeper into Catherine's past, the mystery grows more complex. There are moments where it seems like Catherine is the key to solving the case, but just as quickly, she turns the investigation on its head with her mind games. She controls the narrative, forcing Curran to question everything, even his own sanity. The tension between the two continues to build, and the story becomes a battle of psychological wills. Curran's obsession with Catherine grows, but he is also conflicted about whether or not she is guilty. As the investigation moves forward, both characters are caught in a dangerous dance where trust, power, and control are constantly shifting. The lines between right and wrong are blurred, and it becomes impossible to know who is truly in control of the situation. With the investigation at a standstill and Curran's obsession with Catherine reaching new heights, the story sets the stage for a dramatic conclusion. The complexity of the investigation and the characters' relationships promises a thrilling second part to the story, where the stakes are higher and the psychological tension reaches its peak. The search for the truth continues, but as the investigation unfolds, it becomes clear that the truth may be even more elusive than anyone initially thought. The characters are trapped in a web of deception, manipulation, and obsession, and the outcome remains uncertain. Detective Nick Curran is further tangled in the web of manipulation created by Catherine Tramell. The tension between them has reached a boiling point, with each move they make building toward a dramatic and emotionally charged climax. Curran's obsession with Catherine has clouded his judgment, and as the investigation continues, the lines between truth and illusion grow increasingly blurred. Catherine has a way of pulling him deeper into her world, and it seems that every clue he uncovers only leads to more questions. As the investigation intensifies, more evidence begins to surface that complicates Catherine's innocence. Curran's obsession with her takes a darker turn, and his professional conduct begins to crumble. At this point, it's no longer just about solving the case, it's about his internal struggle, his deteriorating mental state, and his inability to escape the pull of Catherine's influence. Every time Curran thinks he's figured her out, she turns the tables, manipulating the situation to her advantage. It becomes clear that Catherine is more than just a suspect. She is a master at playing with people's perceptions and controlling the narrative. Throughout the investigation, Curran becomes more and more isolated. His colleagues start to notice his erratic behavior, and they question his objectivity in the case. But Curran is too far gone. He's convinced that Catherine is the key to everything, and he becomes increasingly fixated on her. As the lines between right and wrong fade, he finds himself crossing boundaries that he would never have imagined. He begins to engage in actions that blur the distinction between professional and personal life, becoming emotionally entangled with Catherine. One of the most pivotal moments in the story occurs when Curran begins to question his own memories and experiences. His reliability as a narrator is increasingly called into question. The audience is left unsure whether his perceptions of the events are accurate or simply a result of his obsession with Catherine. The psychological manipulation that Catherine exerts on him is evident, and it becomes clear that she is playing a game with him, one where the stakes are his career, his sanity, and possibly his life. As the investigation unfolds, Curran's interactions with Catherine become even more intense. She continues to toy with him, making him question his own motives and beliefs. It is as if she's always one step ahead, leading him down a path where it's impossible to distinguish between truth and deception. Her ability to manipulate those around her is astounding, and it becomes evident that she is using her power to control not only Curran, but everyone involved in the case. In the midst of this psychological warfare, a key moment occurs when Curran is forced to confront his past. His inner turmoil, combined with his obsession with Catherine, causes him to spiral even further. As his personal life unravels, his professional life begins to mirror his emotional breakdown. He starts to make reckless decisions, and his judgment becomes more clouded. The investigation that was once about finding a murderer has now become about finding a way to regain control of his own life. But in doing so, he risks losing everything. In a shocking turn of events, Curran's obsession with Catherine takes a more dangerous form. He finds himself questioning the motivations of everyone around him, unsure of who is playing the game and who is just a pawn in it. At one point, Curran's reality begins to unravel completely, and he realizes that he has been a part of Catherine's manipulation all along. The true nature of their relationship becomes more apparent. It was never just an investigation for Curran, but a twisted dance of power and control. The final pieces of the puzzle begin to fall into place, and as Curran unravels the truth about Catherine's past, he discovers that nothing is as it seems. The final confrontation between the two characters becomes an inevitable clash of wills. Catherine's true intentions are revealed, and Curran is forced to come to terms with the fact that he has been manipulated from the beginning. The story of Basic Instinct is a thrilling psychological journey, exploring the complexities of obsession, manipulation, and power. The characters are intricately layered, and the plot is full of unexpected twists and turns. As Curran and Catherine engage in their dangerous game, it becomes clear that no one is safe from the psychological traps they lay. The film's exploration of the fine line between truth and deception and the power dynamics at play leaves a lasting impression on the audience. The unresolved questions and the shocking conclusion ensure that the story will stay with viewers long after the credits roll.